man, what a day today. You say Morgan saw a bear.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I would see a bear. I was down in the thick of it by the Farmington River, where in the course of 4 minutes and 8 seconds, I was bitten by 3,000 mosquitoes. I now have West Nile virus.
Good.
And COVID and SARS and that raccoon dog Wuhan lab virus too. So I've got it all.
I did bring bug spray, you know.
I didn't realize that it was just a walk. I didn't expect anything. But it was interesting. It's funny. I walked past this freestanding barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm looking inside, I see that there's a Budweiser sign in there. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Is this place a barbershop or Budweiser place, like a bar? And there's all sorts of like paraphernalia, like old, fun stuff in there, posters, etc. This and that. And so I'm looking in there, and I take my phone out. I want to take a picture of inside, and I see suddenly that I guess the owner is like leering at me from the window. And because I was just kind of, gawking in, because I don't know. I couldn't tell where, it was a cluttered window, whatever. And so I just kind of said, waved and said, oh, okay, we'll see you later. Anyway, found out that place was a bar at one time, and now the barbershop serves beers while you're waiting, which is a thing, I guess.
Is that a thing? I've
yeah.
never heard of that, I feel like. Although, we were at a wedding, and they had, did you see this? They had a mobile barber come for the groomsmen.
I did.
So there's all new innovations in the field of barbershop enjoyment. So I don't know. You could get into it. Because mostly you go to like Supercuts or Great Clips or places like that for your haircuts.
Maybe I'll take a step back here and see exactly where you're going to go with all this.
No, I just am saying, like, maybe you could get into barbershops. Maybe it's your time of life when you're going to be into it.
You know what? I think I'm going to.
They'll serve you a beer. They'll come to you with their little barbershop food truck.
You're very tired today, Alice. They'll be happy. Everybody will be happy. So anyway, I was trying to find a place on the internet because I couldn't take a picture because this guy was glaring at me from inside. And it's interesting. I found the place, and I don't know whether to love this guy or despise him. But now I would like your feeling on this because you're somebody who had to deal with Yelp. Mm-hmm. But people are all over Yelp just destroying him, saying like he was rude and he was like, oh, you really screwed me this time on the phone when somebody canceled this, all of this stuff, like saying like one time he was just talking on the phone the whole time. And then they were trashing him on Yelp.
Yeah.
And he then is on Yelp trashing them.
Right.
Like totally just
because they let the business owner like reply.
Right. So I think I might like him because of this.
Maybe. I do. The one thing I do know about Yelp from having worked at a business where we got Yelp reviews is that Yelp will, and they claim that they don't do this, but they absolutely do this. They call up your business and tell you that if you advertise with them, that they will get bad reviews taken down or like delisted.
That is wonderfully unethical.
So I know that they claim that's not true, but I absolutely know that their sales department tells you that because they do.
Well, and that makes sense too. It's like, like the old Wear magazine in Boston or Best of Boston. Mm-hmm. I remember when our hotel decided to spend on local, like hospitality and leisure lifestyle publication ads, we suddenly won all the awards.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. If you advertise in the magazine, you also...
Everything's a grift, Alice, which brings us to the Hunter Biden trial. Mm-hmm. The pre-trial or the plea deal thing, it's still settling in me today just how incredible this is. So what happened was, Andy McCarthy said it, and I think you might have heard it twice. Andy McCarthy, who's a reputable guy,
right,
who writes for National Review and a bunch of other places, he said that the whole trial, the investigation, is, quote, a sham. He said it's a sham. They're pretending to investigate. If there was really a Department of Justice investigation into any of this stuff, the first thing they would do is indict on all the stuff that the statute of limitations could end on.
Right.
So that sticks a pin in it so that you can hold everything in place. So you
right, because the time of the indictment is when you have to do stuff by.
Right, and they didn't. They slow walk stuff and let stuff just close, which is so effing crooked.
Of course they did, though. That was the point.
Well, sure, but now we're seeing the proof of the point is the thing. So and also not only that, but it's like a bizarre thing. What happened? We saw yesterday essentially is we saw what was supposed to be the end of the Hunter Biden ordeal put away and put to rest, and it almost was until the judge just read the fine print and said, seems kind of odd that you've got a listing here under the gun charge, which is not, he's not being indicted for here, and there's no plea for it, but in the resolution to that charge, you've got that he is got immunity in perpetuity.
So, and I guess this was like kind of the way that they structured this was especially unique because the tax charges and the plea deal part that was for the tax charges had to be public. So because of like the nature of where and how it was filed or whatever, and I don't fully understand all the legal ins and outs, but then because the gun charge was different, that's where they put all the shady stuff,
right? Because
that part of the plea deal wasn't public. That's where they put the, oh yeah, and he can't be ever prosecuted for anything ever again, which is like the really crazy thing that you would put in somebody's plea deal for a gun crime they're not even charged with. And you had some of this on that I was half listening to because I was working. And the other thing that they were saying is normally if you're a prosecutor and you're trying to get a plea deal, you charge to the bigger offenses, the bigger felonies first, and then you plead down to something else. You don't like put in a plea deal for something that was never even charged in the first place, which is like so weird.
And not only that, but according to Andy McCarthy, the verbiage of the plea deal had obviously been written by Hunter's lawyers, which is not done. It's the prosecution that writes the plea deal. It's the state, the Department of Justice.
Yeah, ask all the January 6th defendants who had to sign off on stuff.
So they write. So obviously, it was in a sense, okay, guys. The prosecution says to Hunter's attorneys, "You write up what you want, your wish list, and
we'll draft it for you."
We'll draft exactly. It's like when you ask somebody for a reference for work or a testimonial, whatever, for work, and they say, "Just write up something about how good you were, and I'll sign my name to it." And nobody has time for it. So that's essentially what they did, which is. It's amazing. And the fact that they got caught doing this.
Right, just because the judge asked questions.
Yeah, judge asked questions.
Just because the judge said, wait a minute, I've never seen something structured like this.
Yes.
Can you explain what the F is going on here?
Well, and specifically the judge said, is there any precedent for any of this at all? To which the prosecution said, guess what?
No.
Correct. No. It amazes us, too. We can't imagine. Maybe we shouldn't watch us when we're doing this.
I always have to.
Why?
Because
why?
Because I have to look at the chat.
Well, the chat's fine, but the other thing I don't think we have to watch.
Yeah, but our faces are there.
Oh, okay. So it's like this thing was, it was such a sham and such a fraud. And amazingly done in front of the American people. And the whole investigation is fraud, like what we've always thought is true. And they had the goods on this guy. And now, like, I can't understand. Now there should be, and there should be also a special counsel. There obviously should have been. If they have one for Donald Trump, for boxes of stuff in a storage room, just looking around, of course there should have been on this. This begs for it. And that should have been done by Merrick Garland. But they all decided they were going to put this to bed because they're American patriots and they don't have to really go after Hunter Biden. It is absolutely amazing. It's amazing, and it is. We're going to have a problem if heads don't roll. Heads need to roll. There needs to be certainly an investigation into Joe Biden. I know that I've heard that there's consternation about Congress bringing Hunter up and some of these other people up to speak to Congress because I guess the worry is I don't know which parties, but that you'd have then two sets of sworn testimony, and it's harder to build a case, or it's easier to build a case, whatever. It destabilizes the whole thing.
Right. And
you wouldn't want anybody to be immunized. But, and I don't even care about Hunter. The fact is, if Joe took bribes from foreign governments, then there needs to be people on this right now. Right now. And if Congress has to go to some, 1779 constitutional, I guess it's 1789, constitutional, bylaw that means that they can throw Merrick Garland in a brig until they can get answers, then fucking do it now.
I think they could impeach Merrick Garland. Of course,
I don't want him impeached. I want him in jail. I want all these sons of bitches in jail. I want all of them in jail. You're not supposed to have a people's bottom-up democracy that looks like this, where the administrative state is running the show, where they can freelance like this. These bastards need to be in jail. All of them. This guy Weiss, this idiot who goes to Subway for subs, all of these people need to be in jail. They just, now, of course, because all this is happening, they've now indicted Donald Trump tonight on more charges. So they've now got the maintenance guy for erasing videotapes of boxes of junk.
So it's like all stemming from the same thing, ultimately.
So let's go to some Karine Jean-Pierre on some of this stuff. It's going to
the tax matter that had Hunter Biden in court in Wilmington yesterday, it had criminal information saying that he hadn't paid 1.2 to about 1.5 million in taxes owed. So my question is, number one, I know the president doesn't talk to him, you said, about his business, but was he aware at the time that he wasn't filing his returns in a timely fashion? And also, did he ever advise him to pay? Because Hunter testified in court that 1 year he was sober when he didn't file. So did they ever discuss the tax situation?
I'm not going to get into the specific of the case.
Does he think in light of
I've answered this question over and over again. Nothing has
not
changed from the statement that I made yesterday. Nothing's going to change from the few times that I've gotten this question in the briefing room. We're not going to comment on this. This is an independent investigation that is being led by a Trump-appointed prosecutor. That is being led by clearly the Department of Justice, right? The prosecutors I just mentioned. And we're just not going to comment on this.
You mentioned DOJ. Does he have any concerns that the deal prosecutors put together fell apart and couldn't make it by the judge?
We're not going to.
They're not going to comment. Which is what the lawyers tell you not to do.
Can you state categorically that the administration has neither sought nor received favorable treatment from the DOJ for any investigation into the president, members of the administration, his family, or former President Donald Trump?
Absolutely not. The Department of Justice is independent. The president respects the rule of law. He has been saying that since he was before.
Buffering.
President, and that will remain the case.
So you didn't get too much. Biden himself today didn't answer questions during the scrum.
Thank you.
But not this one I missed. I think this might have been yesterday.
Elizabeth Naftali. She's made more than a dozen visits here to the White House and met with some of the president's most senior advisors. Can you tell us a little bit more about those visits?
She bought Hunter's artwork.
I would have to look into that. I've not been tracking these visits that you're mentioning to me.
She hasn't been tracking them. She doesn't know. Well, get used to it. There's going to be more questions on that. There's going to be more questions on Hunter. This isn't going to
about
fully
the
go
president's
away.
previous remarks on his son's business dealings, but the language has in fact changed. So I just want to clear this up once and for all. The president has previously said that he has never discussed overseas business dealings with his son, but the White House now says that the president has never been in business with his son. So why the updated language? Which statement is true? Or is this semantics and they're both true?
As I stated on Monday, when I was asked this question multiple times, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed on this. Nothing has changed on this. And so you could ask me a million different ways. on this question, nothing has changed.
Here with reaction, Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
Thank you, Sham. So in other words, they're circling
In
the
other words,
wagons.
they have no answers. In other words, Biden has no response to this. And he's going to be on a debate stage, possibly with Trump next year if he stays in this presidential race. And Trump is going to bring all this up. And,
Right.
like, even the media can't, like, fully pretend it's not happening anymore. Because, you know, we all just saw that Hunter's plea deal fell through because he wanted to be okay for foreign lobbying as well.
Right.
You know, so, like, why are you rejecting the plea deal that doesn't make you immune from foreign lobbying? Like, unless you know that you were doing foreign lobbying, right?
Right.
Isn't that the
And-
only possible reason why you would reject that plea deal?
Of course it is. Now, this is 2014. Obviously, they got him busted on that. Obviously. I mean, and that's a direct, I mean, the fact that he threw Trump guys in the jail for that is, I mean, it's obvious. He was brokering deals. So in 2014, this was brought up by the AP guy. I forgot what his name is. The guy who's really good. He's really
Matt Lee.
Matt Lee. He's kind of an a-hole, but he's like a good reporter. To then Jen Psaki, who was the Department of Defense, State Department. Sorry, he asked about Hunter Biden's new gig as a board member of Burisma, and back then people knew
Right.
this is 9 years ago. People knew that this was shady.
I'm wondering if the State Department has any concerns or any thoughts about the Vice President's son joining the board of directors of this Ukrainian gas company. Does, in particular, I understand why the White House would refer this to the Vice President's office, but does this building diplomatically have any concerns about potential perceptions of conflict or / cronyism, which is what you've often accused the Russians of doing?
No, he's a private citizen.
Okay, but then, so do you consider that the Russian oligarchs who control, or the Ukrainian oligarchs who control these, they're all private citizens as well?
We certainly
correct?
wouldn't put them in the same
No, I'm not
category.
suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that it should be in the same category. But I'm wondering if there are concerns from this building about the perception about how the Russians and or the Ukrainians would perceive the involvement of a son of the Vice President of the United States in this, especially given the situation.
They're
there are
very
not.
familiar with that way of doing business over there,
Right.
actually. They know exactly what it is, and they don't pretend it's anything else, of course, because they're used to that.
In other big news, huge Democratic donor Sam Bankman-Fried is apparently out of trouble.
Wait, fully out of trouble?
His campaign finance fraud charges have been dropped by the Biden Department of Justice. So the charges about giving money to all the Democrats, those are all
okay.
gone now. So he is a free man, or at least partially. So I don't know what else he's got going for him. But they have given the nod to him that they've done their college best to give him wings so he can avoid jail time.
So yesterday we played that Mitch McConnell audio where he like froze up mid-sentence and didn't talk then and had to be escorted away to his office before he recovered. And they're reporting now that like 12 days ago he fell down, took a like total header too.
Right.
I mean, at what point, and I know like some of my friends in my group chat were like saying this today, like how do you get them to retire, or how do you impose some kind of age limit on the Senate and Congress? And because it's truly an embarrassment. It's not just Biden who's an embarrassing senile disaster. It's McConnell. It's Feinstein. Do you have Feinstein in there?
It's somewhere here. Let me-
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so she didn't know what she was supposed to do when she was asked to vote today, and like started reading some other notes before. They were like, Senator, just say aye.
Just say aye, and
And she's like, oh.
she burst into the Gettysburg Address or something. It was
She was like reading her notes about the bill, like what she was supposed to say when it was her turn to talk, but they just needed her to vote right then. Like it's really, really bad. They're all so old. It's so terrible. And like, what do you do? Because we're dependent on them to pass a law to cap their ages, and of course they'll never do that in a million years because this is their
But like,
gig.
is she going to be a good voter and stuff anyway? Here's the Di-Fi stuff.
Senator Feinstein.
Just say aye, Senator.
Pardon me?
Aye.
Yeah.
Just say
I would like
Just say aye.
to support a yes vote on this.
Dun.
It provides $823 billion. That's an increase of $26 billion for the Department of Defense, and it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just
Great.
aye.
Thank you. Senator Feinstein.
Yeah.
So there you go. It was a tough one for a bit. She's 90 years old. I mean, I don't think so. I think that you should keep these people in. F it. Keep them in. And if they make a catastrophic error, and because of it we get nuked by the Russians, then good. That's fine.
I mean,
I'm on Team Putin now anyway. I don't care.
Of course people could just vote her out, but they're never going to in a million years. And it's incredible to me that people won't vote any of these people out. It's like we don't deserve democracy.
Correct. But let me give you, because this has been a week that's crazy and bad for people.
Okay.
This is a University of Pennsylvania, a UPenn teammate of Leah Thomas. This is, what is her name? Let me find it. Paula Scanlon. Very telegenic, Paula Scanlon, by the way.
This is the one who was in the Matt Walsh documentary anonymously and then came forward afterwards.
And listen to this. This is her in front of a committee hearing today.
Good morning, Chairman Johnson and Ranking Member Scanlon, and members of the subcommittee. I'm Paula Scanlon, a spokeswoman and advisor for the Independent Women's Forum, and a former NCAA athlete. I am here today to share my personal story. I started swimming at a very young age, and by age 8, I was swimming competitively, and by late middle school, I was devoting at least 20 hours per week to swimming. I gave up countless Christmas holidays, weekends, and social events to work towards my goal of swimming Division I. A dream that came true when I began swimming for the University of Pennsylvania. While I am not an NCAA champion, I hold the New England Independent School League record in the 400-yard freestyle relay, a record that has stood since March of 2017. In September of 2021, Leah Thomas began participating as a member of the Penn women's team. Leah, formerly Will, had personal best times in every freestyle event that were faster than the women's world records. Once the season began, Thomas was leading the country in multiple events, while only placing in the top 500 in those events on the men's team. Thomas later became an NCAA champion in the 500-yard freestyle, the first NCAA champion in our women's team history program. While many of you already know this, what you do not know is the experiences of the women on the University of Pennsylvania swim team. My teammates and I were forced to undress in the presence of Leah, a 6'4" tall biological male, fully intact with male genitalia, 18 times per week. Some girls opted to change in bathroom stalls, and others used the family bathroom to avoid this. When we tried to voice our concerns to the athletic department, we were told that Leah's swimming and being in our locker room was...
By the way, it's been 2 years, and we're just learning this.
Of course.
They had shut it up and shut it out for so long and silenced these people and threatened them, and they're such bullies. But this was happening, and it never got out. They couldn't. Young people aren't used to being intimidated by big institutions. They're not used to dealing with the amount of guilt, et cetera, that lawyers, et cetera, can make you feel. In academics and your parents, et cetera. This is such... I'm sorry to use a term the left has co-opted from Ron DeSantis, apparently, but it is fascistic, the way they operate.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's
totally authoritarian.
Yes, it's brutal.
Was a non-negotiable, and we were offered psychological services to attempt to re-educate us to become comfortable with the idea of undressing in front of a male.
Wow.
To sum up the university's response, we, the women, were the problem, not the victims. We were expected to conform, to move over and shut up. Our feelings didn't matter. The university was gaslighting and fear-mongering women to validate the feelings and identity of a male. As an attempt to voice my concern about the situation we were forced into, revealing the unjust and unfair treatment, I wrote an op-ed for the Daily Pennsylvanian, the student-run newspaper. I approached this from a scientific
Anyway, they changed it and edited it and whatever, and everybody was ticked off, etc. Which brings me to, obviously that's horrific. What they did, these girls should sue for $100 million.
Oh, yeah.
They should sue the F out of these people. So, which brings me to the guy I never knew about before, Rep. Wesley Hunt. I don't even know where he's from. But Rep. Wesley Hunt is saying stuff that 10 years ago would have been normal to say, but just even hearing him say it sounds fantastic. Fantastic. And we'll have it in just a moment. As soon as we're done buffering, here we go. Rep. Wesley Hunt.
And I can assure you that my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old daughters will not change in front of biological men. This is ridiculous. I don't care what party you are a part of. If you think that we are all equal and the same biologically, you've literally lost your mind. And when my 2 daughters work hard in the sport, work hard in their craft to be the best that they can be amongst other women, they will compete against other women. I owe Victoria and Olivia and every other young lady in this country that. If you think I'm wrong, I am not the problem. I can assure you. We have an opportunity in this country to get this right in 2024.
So that is precisely, you see so little of this these days.
Yeah.
That is somebody acting like a man.
Yeah.
Doing the natural things that you're supposed to do, which is protect women and girls. And he's loud and he's boisterous and he's saying, no, pull this crap. It reminds me, it's like watching, it's so refreshing to see somebody react in a visceral human way that's totally correct. It reminds me of when you see, like, it's usually in Europe, but, or, when these, like, green protesters stop the highway and some dude just gets out of his truck and just throws them to the side.
Drags them out of the way
their
by
throws
hair
them like they're trash.
Whatever, yeah.
It's so great to see because it's so correct. And he is correct. Like, really, seriously. What is this this exercise we're involved in here?
Where you have to deny every natural human instinct and everything in your head that's telling you what's the right thing to do and what's normal. Like, we all know that it's not normal to have adult men change around teenage girls.
Of course.
We all know
it's weird. So now, which brings me to some news I have to give to you. And I love you, right?
Mm-hmm. I do love you, yes.
But, this is tough to say.
This is about Nancy Mace.
We're to be married.
Okay.
And she's gotten a lot of crap for this. But this is Nancy Mace at Tim Scott's, prayer breakfast. This morning or yesterday morning, one of the mornings. And she's looking good. Would you say she looks good?
She always looks lovely.
Wow. I can venomous aura about you when you say that.
I like Nancy Mace just fine. She's just fine.
This together. Another year, another standing room only event. And when I woke up this morning at 7, I was getting picked up at 7:45. Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed. And I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast. And I got to be on time. And a little TMI. But he can wait. I'll see him later tonight. But I was here early. This together.
So I've seen people, it's suddenly, by the way, people on the left are against feminist agency over their sex lives and promiscuity and lovemaking and all that stuff. Suddenly they're, oh my goodness, you see, this is so tone deaf what the GOP is doing. And some
I don't
people
understand what's wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. She's a woman being funny and sexy and saying that, yeah, the easy thing would have been to do would be just go right back to bed, blow it off, and have sex. But it's like, shut up. Anybody who has sexual... By the way, any man who has a problem with this...
So what, are people upset that, like, she owed him that or something? Or that she went to a
they're
prayer
mad
breakfast?
that...
I don't understand
They're
why
mad that... They're mad that
they feel that it's sex negative?
That she's, like, essentially... Well, people on the right are upset because she's lost the string on Christianity, and she's doing it in a house of... Even though it's not a house of God, but she's doing it in an event of God. And people on the left are saying that she's essentially being Marjorie Taylor Greene,
but she turned down
bombastic.
the sex, so that's good for the prayer breakfast,
Right,
right?
but she even mentioned it. These are, the left can be turned very puritanical in an instant when it's convenient. Anyway, so the point is this. One, I'm going to be married to Nancy Mace. And two,
I saw people upset about
her.
this, and I don't understand it.
All right. Jason Aldean removed a clip of Black Lives Matter protest from Try That in a Small Town. If it's all true that he really did because of pressure, then he sucks and he's a pussy.
Well, they pulled his video off the TV.
Well, I know. I understand that. But
so he probably wants to have it back on. Right? Why are you
think?
mad at me? Why am I in trouble?
I understand
right
that, but the deal is that he stands up for his principles and doesn't do what it takes to do it.
Right.
He doesn't back down. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay, that's...
what do you mean? What? I don't understand why I'm in trouble with you. Can we talk about my favorite congressman today?
Sure. Then I'll do the
It's not Wesley Hunter, Nancy Mace. Can't even talk. Greg.
We didn't do this last night?
No, we read this today. This is my new favorite congressman. Talk about really standing up for what you believe in. This is a Texas congressman who wanted to stand up for workers' rights in this intense heat, where he feels that all workers deserve water breaks given the incredible record-breaking climate change that we've been experiencing. Right. So he wants construction workers to make sure they're guaranteed water breaks during the day. And apparently, according to him, although I've seen no evidence of this from anywhere, according to him, Governor Abbott has banned water breaks. Water breaks are now illegal for construction workers in Texas, according to him. So anyway, he bravely and boldly on the steps of the Capitol, following in the footsteps of the great Cori Bush, who sat on the Capitol steps with a pack of Oreos overnight.
Right. She survived that too. She didn't have somebody,
the medics didn't have to arrive.
She didn't have somebody. If you notice him in those pictures,
well, she had.
He's not only got the finger blood pressure thing the whole time because he's been outside. We're like the ice cream person and the guy who drives the 8-seat bicycle is all day without. He's got the blood pressure thing, and they're patting his head with a wet cloth.
Yeah. So he was on a hunger and thirst strike, which if you've never heard the word thirst strike before, you're not alone. This is the first time it's been used in human history, I think. Thirst strike. Is that we haven't done that, right? So he was on a hunger and thirst strike. He was joined at his thirst strike by workers from Texas and across the nation and by lots of colleagues pushing for federal heat safety protections. 9 hours without food or water. But I'm more energized than ever to get this done. Incredible. 9 hours.
That is, nobody's done that.
Nobody's ever gone without food and water for 9 hours. I don't know. Let's see. Brian Metzger reports he ended his thirst strike after over 8 hours without food or water on the House steps. The workers are clapping for him for his brave move. He tweeted, "No water, no breaks. All day in the heat of the Capitol steps today, and I feel stronger and more inspired than ever by our movement to put people over profit." 7 hours into the thirst strike, Bernie Sanders showed up to support him.
Thing is, intermittent fasting is longer than his. No, and that's not a long time.
I have not eaten for 100 hours before.
The idea of the strike, hunger strike, is that
you're in physical danger if you don't.
You're showing your passion to the event.
You have to be intubated to make sure that you get nutrients or whatever. But he did receive medical attention. He held a hunger and thirst strike. Medics periodically checked his vitals. He will not be eating or drinking for a whole 9 hours. 9 hours. I think that's real bravery.
What is the hot sauce, Alice?
The hot sauce is the Chelsea Fire Wicked hot sauce.
Very interested in
this.
this.
Did I lose you?
Yeah, I had. Yeah, my thing's restarted. I think so. I might be back. Might not.
I think you're back
Not
now.
sure.
Yeah.
We should just be in the same camera. That would probably be the best idea.
Yeah, but we don't have a camera that's far enough away to do both of us. I don't think right now.
Not right now, but in the future.
Yeah, in the future. I also think we just can't stream on this internet.
Yeah.
A lot of people had to leave because it wasn't working for them.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
BBP.
Burn Barrel Podcast.
Jose Taldia.
Okay.
Now, this is interesting. Jose, I used to know a really good friend of mine was Jose Tapia, who worked with me at the Cambridge Marriott, I used to, bang in all the time, so I'd give him my shifts and because I wanted to be out and partying and whatever. But this is 860-522-9042.
Oh.
It's the call-in number for my radio station.
Gotcha.
So we'll see what this is.
Couple of points of clarification. As far as a pedicure,
yes,
that is a complete and utter fallacy.
Incorrect. I've seen receipts. I have moles. I know that he's done the thing with the goldfish as well.
I've never had one.
Incorrect.
In fact, I'm like a dog or a werewolf even. I just drag my toes on the asphalt and it grinds my toenails down. Although I do appreciate the compliments. Very nice of you both, because God knows I should have sent you pictures when I had my toe fungus going on. That was a sight to be seen. And secondly, I definitely treat Tom different. In fact, I want to be very clear on this, as some people's Lord and Savior Obama would say. Let me be clear. I am 100% harassing Tom at this point. And it's going to continue unabated, I think, for quite a while.
Yeah, first of all, my moles tell me that and I'm working on getting actual video footage of him getting pedicures, including the goldfish co-erect.
You'd probably like it, Tim. It's fun.
He does it, Alex. That's how he discovered the mole. What did he have? Toe fungus? I've not had toe fungus. My toes are disgusting enough, but my feet work well. That's all that matters.
The present company in Tariffville, Simsbury, has a tripe appetizer.
Ooh!
Present company.
Pretty good.
The present company. We should look it up.
Simsbury. We're going to be in Simsbury tomorrow.
It's down the street. I could go now and get it. Let's remember. Let's look it up immediately. Tripe appetizer. Oh, man, I would love that. Thank you so much. By the way, I don't know if do we know him?
I don't think so.
Call again, please.
Hey guys, how you doing? I was wondering, because I'm going through this right now.
Yep.
What is more difficult, crate training a dog or crib training a baby? Because my daughter was really easy to crib train, but I find that my little puppy Paxton is a handful when it comes to crate training. So I know you guys have Pepper. Not sure if you had any dogs in the past, but I was wondering your opinion on it. Thanks.
So we had Pepper, who would not be crate trained. She would drag the crate around with her. She was too strong and too crazy.
She could got the doors open. She would bend back the hinges or bend back the thing, like Jurassic Park when the wires are all bent back.
We found an eviscerated cow in the crate one time.
It was like that. Pepper refused to be crate trained, although we did house train her mostly after some incidents.
A lot of incidents, and after she destroyed everything, it was dear to me.
As far as crib training babies, we can't really speak to that because the 7-year-old still sleeps in our bed.
No, but crib training, there's a thing. I guess they all slept in cribs for a while. I don't even know.
Well, it can be. It's tough. Especially the younger two right now, especially the one who's 5 right now. He could get out of the crib before he was even a year old.
Is that true?
Yeah. Which is you can't really reason with that. So if they can get out of the crib, it's it can just be impossible.
That always includes a fall, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
you hear an
I am not a kid guy.
extremely loud thud, and then there's a kid in your room for some reason. It's like that. Goodness. Even when the mattress is all the way at the bottom, if they're good climbers, they're good climbers.
Now, this can't be a complete... BBP.
Burn Barrel Podcast.
Chief from Elephant and Castle. That's the guy who called me and Danny M, Danny McKenna, Chief, and like big guy, and then we started calling the bartender Tiger, and that's when me and Dan left out. We screwed on the tab. That was during a Celtics playoff game when they had Paul Pierce and the fat guy who gambled, Antoine Walker.
Okay.
Well, this is him. Apparently, he's reaching out now.
Oh, good.
Hey, Chief, how's your heat dome?
What does that mean?
I'm not sure. What does heat dome mean?
I don't know. Why does it say $22.75?
Because that was the tab.
That was what you owed them?
Heat dome. What's a heat dome? DuckDuckGo doesn't work well in this.
Work enough to search what it is.
Heat dome. Does that mean heat dome? Can you search what it is? Do you have DuckDuckGo on that?
Yeah, I do.
Heat dome. Look up heat dome. I like that he's talking to me anyway.
I don't know what that means.
Hmm.
What is a heat dome? It occurs when the atmosphere traps hot ocean air.
But why would the Elephant and Castle guy? I don't get it. Why would he ask about my heat dome? Doesn't he want his money? He does want his money back. I don't know. We'll have to revisit this tomorrow.
We don't understand.
Or Sunday.
There supposedly is one in San Diego right now.
A heat dome.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, just as I was dating Supple,
yes.
a woman who worked at Elephant and Castle really had a crush on me and wanted to date me. And she was pretty and nice and fun. And this has not happened, but she had Amy Winehouse, like kind of bouffant haircut.
Okay.
Yeah. And she wasn't being ironic or retro or punk about it. That was her hair.
That was her style?
Yeah, it was her style. So anyway, I chose Supple anyway, which is probably a mistake. As a matter of fact, all of this could have been different had I just chosen Winehouse.
Hello, Alice and Tom.
Hey.
Hi.
Little tip, if you're staying in Avon,
Yes.
go check out Little City Pizza right down the street from you.
Little City Pizza.
They got pinball machines.
Ooh.
Low-key bar room.
Ooh.
And it's the best pizza in the area. That's it.
Alice Shattuck?
Little City Pizza.
You know what? Since our relationship is not a relationship who's the woman with Matt Walsh who Matt Walsh said you should take normal gender roles, and she said the woman should be told what to do. You mentioned her today.
Oh, Pearl Davis.
You know what, lady? We're going to Little City Pizza tomorrow. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. You're going to sit there, and I'm ordering for you. You're going to look pretty, and you will eat what I give you. Okay. And your kids, too. Thank you very much, my friend. I will check it out tomorrow. Little City Pizza. It is a...
and then where are you going for tripe tomorrow?
I'm trying to do my Al Bundy. I have spoken, and so it is written, and so it shall be done.
Okay.
Or it might be, and so it shall be done.
What's the name of the place you're going for tripe?
The small tripe plates? I'm not sure, but I'm going to have to Google that first to see what it is, if it's done in the way I like it. But it's Little City Heat Dome. What's the pizza?
Pizza. Little City Pizza.
Little City Pizza. I'm going to DuckDuckGo that, please, so we can bookmark it. And we are doing it. Little City Pizza tomorrow. The Shaddocks are going there. Done.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the food suggestions as well, obviously. We need those for the food podcast too, of course. Sorry about the stream being slow today. We will work on that. And what else do I have to say? If you want to be on the stream, you can do that at patreon.com.
And you can see us at Little City Pizza tomorrow.
Or you can always, of course, view it for free at burnbarrelpodcast.com.